Hey guys, so we're going to do something a little different today. My channel is not just about any one thing, as you know. I do videos on makeup, food, dolls, TV, books, whatever strikes my fancy at the time. Now, when you saw the title, you were probably like, what the heck is this? Yeah, well, I get it because before my latest medical emergency, I never knew what oxalates were either. And I consider it a blessing now that I got that kidney stone, of which I still don't know what happened to it because I never past it that I saw, but yet I'm completely symptom free and am no pain, no symptoms at all. But anyways, that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is that before I had my kidney stone emergency, I never knew what oxalates were. But what happened was when I got the kidney stone, I started doing a deep dive onto the internet and read everything that I could find about kidney stones. Now you might be thinking, well, I don't have a problem with kidney stones. Well, not yet you don't, but that doesn't mean that you might not have a problem with them in the future. But oxalates are about so much more than kidney stones. They are something that is naturally occurring in food that is really, really bad for us and can cause a multitude of health problems. And a lot of times people will have a health problem and not know what is causing it. And a lot of times I think that the culprit could be oxalates. Now, I should say before we go any further, obviously I am not a doctor, I'm just an ordinary person, but I became fascinated with this subject when I went to my urology appointment. The urologist started talking about my diet, and I said, whoa, before you even go any further, I've done a lot of research and I've read all about oxalates in food. And he said, oh, great. So this isn't going to be a long conversation. I said, no, it is not, because I have found out all about that and I have made the necessary changes in my diet to lower my oxalate intake. And yeah, I never knew what oxalates were. I had never heard the word before, but now I am fascinated with it. And I went out and bought this book, Toxic Superfoods by Sally K. Norton. And this is not an advertisement. She has no idea who I am, and I am just such a fan. This is the most fascinating book I have ever read on nutrition. There is a wealth of information in here, and if you have any interest in this subject, I highly recommend that you read this book. I got it from Barnes& and Noble, but I'm sure there are other ways to get it. But oxalates, what are they? They are a naturally occurring thing in food, and what it is it's a defense mechanism that plants use so that they don't get eaten. Um, they form oxalates in their plantness, we'll say, and when people or animals eat those foods, they get sick, and if they eat enough of them, they die. And the reason why I say that is everything that she talks about in this book, she gives you the facts and studies and figures to back up what she's saying. So she's not just out there spouting a bunch of BS. She actually tells you about the studies. And in some of the studies that she talks about here, when they fed animals, now I know we're not animals, we're humans, so we have a different chemical makeup, but she talks about in the studies that when they fed animals foods that were high in oxalates, after a couple weeks, the animals were dead. So oxalates are bad news. Now, you can't avoid oxalates completely because all foods have oxalates to a certain degree, but what you can do is avoid the foods that are highest in oxalates. Now, I had no idea about this, and I probably gave myself that kidney stone because I was eating what I thought was a healthy diet. I used to make an omelet every morning for breakfast and put a handful of spinach in there. I didn't know spinach is the worst food that exists for high oxalates. I always thought spinach was good for you, and that's what, if you look into it, it's considered to be one of the most nutritious foods that there are. And also, almonds are really bad. Actually, nuts in general are very bad. And sometimes I would have cereal, and I would always put some nuts in my cereal. Peanut butter sandwiches, I mean, there's so many ways that we use nuts. And I had no idea that nuts were high in oxalates. I had no idea what oxalates were. Potatoes and sweet potatoes are also high in oxalates. So think about how bad French fries really are. I don't eat French fries, but for people who do, think about how bad French fries really are, because you're taking a high oxalate vegetable and then frying it in probably in oil that is really bad for you. And fried foods are bad for you. Everybody knows that. Potato chips. I mean, I don't eat potato chips either, but a lot of people do. And the list goes on and on and on. If you want to know about this, be careful where you get your information from, because there is so much conflicting information on the internet that if you go to different websites, you're going to see different numbers and information about what foods are high in oxalates and how much is contained in those foods. So be careful about the sources that you get it from. I found this blog that was all about oxalates and eating, and she had recipes and all kinds of things. And once I started finding out more about this, I realized that a lot of the foods that she was using were very high in oxalates. So yeah, I wish somebody would make her take that down, because that's so dangerous to make people think one thing when it's actually something else. But the thing is, and the reason why I feel like this is so important is, if you talk to your doctor about this, they're going to say, well, if you don't have kidney problems, then don't worry about it. No, that's not the attitude that you should take, because a lot of these problems develop because of the oxalates. So nobody, in my opinion, should be eating a lot of oxalates in their diet, because if I had known what I was doing to myself by eating my so-called healthy diet, I never would have developed that kidney stone, and would have prevented myself from having a lot of pain and spending thousands of dollars on medical bills that are just starting to roll in now, because health insurance never pays 100% of your bills, no matter how good of a plan you have. So my intention on doing this video is to save all of you a lot of pain and money and poor health by looking into this on your own. So I will put the name of this book and the author in the description box, and I highly, this just blows my mind. I haven't actually finished the book yet, but what I've read about it so far is just blowing my mind, because she talks about other nutritional things in regards to oxalates and how it relates to it, and how a lot of the information that we have been given over the years is wrong. And I mean, nobody knows who to trust anymore or what to believe, because we get so much conflicting information. But she backs up everything that she's saying, and she's not just an ordinary person. If you look at her name, Sally K. Norton, it says MPH, and I was like, Sally K. Norton, miles per hour? What the hell? No, MPH also stands for Master of Public Health. So she has a degree in nutrition, and she's not just a regular person spouting a bunch of crap. So yeah, look into this for yourself, because there's so much about this. It's not just cut and dry. It's fascinating and shocking that nobody in the medical industry other than her seems to be even talking about this. There is information out there, though, but usually they'll tell you, oh, well, some people are more sensitive to this than others, and that is true. Some people can get away with eating more oxalates than other people can and not have something happen to them. But oxalates are bad news, you guys, and I want you to look into this because I want you all to be healthy, and I want you to especially look into this if you have health problems now that the medical industry is not helping you with, or that you're not getting any relief from, because there are a lot of health conditions that can be caused by oxalates, and sometimes doctors aren't up to speed on this. It's funny because we have known about oxalates in food for over 100 years, but yet it's kind of being swept under the carpet now, and a lot of doctors don't even consider that someone's health problem might be caused by oxalates. And, it's kind of the last thing that anybody looks at, but it's critical that everybody know about this to protect themselves because that saying, you are what you eat? Boy, that is truer now than it ever has been. And what they are telling us to eat is not necessarily healthy for us. So you have to do your own homework and research and figure it out because a lot of times we get so much misinformation. So protect yourself. Check out this book if you don't want to buy it because it is $18. Try getting it from your local library if you don't have the $18 to spend and if your local library doesn't have it, ask them to get it. A lot of people don't know, you can actually request that your library buy certain books. So that's it, you guys. Very important and hopefully helpful video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.